I'm 35, a widow, and I met my current boyfriend, Eric, 2 years ago in group therapy. He lost his father, which significantly impacted him. He's sweet, handsome, and very caring. He and his three brothers co-own the house left to them by their deceased father. He's the youngest, age 31, and has a little son. Their house is worth $450,000. It's a 2-story home that is also their childhood home. I live in my and my late husband's home, a 1-story house, so it's worth less in comparison. Eric sat with me and said that since we will be getting married in 3 years, he suggested I sell my house and use the money to pay his 3 brothers out of their house, so their names get taken off the deed and he becomes the owner. I was taken by surprise by this suggestion. He said the house would be ours, but he won't put my name on the deed till marriage. I said I didn't have intentions to sell my house. He frowned and started comparing the 2 houses, from the location, size, etc., and said that my house, which my late husband and I bought together, carries a lot of emotional memories that might hold me back. He assured me he has all the time in the world to wait for me, but then said my future is with him and his son, so helping him to completely own his house will be a significant step in our future together. I felt uneasy. I said I wasn't ready, and he said he couldn't believe I was even hesitating, and that he had to keep trying to convince me to do it, when I should be welcoming this idea instead. He said he was feeling sad and disappointed in my reaction, and added that refusing to sell my house is just not right because he, just like any other man, won't accept living in another man's house, deceased or not, stating this was a boundary I had to respect. I suggested why not let his brother buy him out and he comes and lives with me, but he said no, because they will come together and sell it, which has been on their mind since their dad got sick, and he was the one keeping them from selling it. I paused and he said, "Don't look at me like that. That's the house I grew up in, my childhood home, and I won't let them sell it and move out of it either." I replied that this was a life-altering decision and I wasn't considering it. He said he understood, but then kept arguing with me about my stance and set me with his brothers, who told me I should stop hesitating and go for it, and everyone gets to go on their merry way, and Eric and I take the house. But I refused. Not the idiot, and do not give him any money towards that house without getting your name on the deeds. I say that in all caps, as I used to work in a solicitor's office, and you'd be surprised how many people give a large lump sum to their partner for a house or a deposit and ends up with nothing, no money, and no name on the house. So please do not fall for it. He wants you to pay 3/4 of the house now, but isn't willing to put your name on the deed until you're married 3 years from now? Don't do it. Nope. This is 100% a scam. I've met many men like this. I've been duped many times. Don't fall for it. Lose him. Get rid of him. Cut him out of your life. Run and don't ever look back. Some men can charm your pants off and manipulate you out of all your money. Don't do it. Not the idiot. A huge red flag that he wants you to buy his brothers out with your money, but won't put your name on the deed until your marriage? If you're buying his 3 brothers out, that will make you more of an owner than him, but he wants to retain legal ownership of the property for the next 3 years? What if you break up and don't get married? What if something happens to him before then? You're down a house and have no legal right to the property you own by 3/4? Sorry, but this sounds so dodgy to me. You are right to stick to your guns and refuse this. Maybe turn it around on him and say that you'll consider when you're married. Until then, keep your house and don't put any money into his, unless your name is on the deed and it's all legally above board. Speaking of turning things around on him, tell him you can't move into his childhood home because it has too many memories and he will never be able to move on in your new life together. Isn't that why he can't move into your home? This man and his brothers sound like con men. Do not trust them. I, female 30, am an all-time coffee drinker. I have favorites, but also I like to drink any type of coffee available. I bought a grinder that I use to grind coffee beans that I purchased fresh from the market. I store every kind of my ground coffee type in a separate container. I have black, Arabica, and Robust. I also drink Italian and Turkish coffee, which are costly. I grind my coffee in advance to be able to drink it on the go, whether in the morning before going to work or later when I'm too lazy to start the grinder. My husband can be a bit ignorant when it comes to coffee types. He has only one favorite, and that's it. He doesn't even try other types. He sticks to the regular. On to the situation. A few days ago, I went shopping to buy coffee beans to grind and store for later use. I put each type of ground coffee in a separate container and marked them by putting a sticker on each container lid like Italian and Turkish. I had a total of 4 separate containers. I put them in a cupboard like I usually do and went about my day. Tuesday evening, I returned from work and my husband was home already. I didn't notice anything was wrong until I walked into the kitchen and found my coffee containers gone. One big glass jar was there instead, and it had coffee in it. I immediately asked my husband about it. He casually said that he ran out of jars for his gardening project and took my coffee containers after moving them all to a bigger jar to save containers. I was stunned. I flipped out, saying he shouldn't have put all the ground coffee together, as I had different types. I flat out called him an idiot because it should have been obvious to him that all my 4 containers of coffee looked different. He argued that he'd seen me mix coffee sometimes, but that's different since I add specific amounts to get a balanced mix. He said it wasn't a huge deal and that I could buy new coffee beans or roast coffee if I had no time since my ground coffee is the same we find in grocery stores. I yelled that I put time, money, and effort into this, and he should have gone to the gardening center instead of using my containers and mixing all my coffee. He apologized but said I hurt him by calling him an idiot when he was trying to decorate our kitchen window. We haven't talked since then. He keeps saying I overreacted and can afford to pay for new coffee beans, but still thinks our coffee is drinkable. I don't think he understands, but I also feel like I went off on him harshly. Not the idiot. He knew exactly what he was doing. They were labeled, and you can't tell me that you two are married and he doesn't know that you enjoy mixing and experiencing different blends. This was so disrespectful, and intentionally so. So yeah, the name calling wasn't great, but seriously, did he expect you to be happy about what he did? No, he did not. It's not a mistake to mix 4 separate label containers together. Husband knew exactly what he was doing and did it deliberately. Was it malicious? Probs not, but it wasn't a mistake. OP has every right to be angry and flip her out, but calling her husband an idiot to his face was wrong, and she should apologize to him and explain why she's so upset. Husband is just lazy for not going to the shop and buying proper pots for his plants, and an idiot for being demeaning towards her coffee addiction. Anyone with half a brain knows not to mess around with someone else's coffee. Seriously? The way she says he's ignorant for liking only one kind of coffee? She's clearly a coffee snob, but buying beans and grinding them all in bulk shows that she's just as ignorant. Definitely an everyone's the idiot here story. Learn to respect each other. I have 2 kids, a little boy and a girl. X and I were young parents and broke up the day our son was born. He married his wife Kate when our kids were babies. It's been a wild ride. When X first married Kate, he filed to change our custody plan to 50-50, which wasn't possible before because he worked as a truck driver and was away a lot. He wanted the kids at his house with Kate, even if he wasn't going to be there. The judge rejected it, and the custody remains in place for another 2 years until he left that job to have more time with the kids. Then custody went to 50-50. X and Kate have always referred to her as Mom Kate. The kids call her Kate. When custody went to 50-50, X asked me to split Mother's Day with them so the kids could celebrate with both moms equally. I said no. I got Mother's Day just like he got Father's Day. It caused some tension, but I had the court order to back me up. There has been tension and drama over how the kids refer to Kate, their relationship with her versus me, and how I have never accepted the shared mom role with Kate. The truth is, I have always felt like she is secondary to me and my ex, but still an active part of their lives. She still has her opinions and requests, but X and I are the ones who should be dealing with the nitty-gritty stuff. I found out 6 weeks ago that my ex has asked the kids twice to ask me to let them go to his house for half of Mother's Day. It came up when my son told me Dad asked them to tell me we needed to talk about Kate being their mom. He asked me what I wanted them to tell their dad. I said nothing, and I would talk to Dad. They didn't need to. He then told me he was surprised they said anything, since they obviously never asked to go there for Mother's Day, and how he had always waited for them to say they hadn't done it either time. I told him not to drag our kids into this. He told me it was unfair, that Kate has been around long enough to be seen as their mom too, especially as the mother to their other siblings, and how I need to start treating her as such. It got worse 2 weeks ago when my daughter was sick, and she had the school call me instead of Kate. It was X's parenting time, and Kate should have been the first call technically, but my daughter asked the school nurse to call me. Then when I called my ex, after taking my daughter home, things blew up because he was angry that my daughter asked that I be called, and also annoyed when our daughter didn't want to go with Kate when she arrived to pick her up. They are saying I've poisoned the kids against Kate by not encouraging them to love her and treat her the same as me, because I've refused to give up the role of sole mom and share this role with the other woman who was also their mother. It has become a very tense dispute because I don't see what I have done is wrong, but I guess what they are saying bothers me enough to wonder, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You're not sharing the role of mom. You are their mom. She is their stepmom. She doesn't have the same parenting rights, same relationship, same anything as you, and she shouldn't. It sounds like your ex wants to replace you with her. It doesn't work like that. He needs to get over it. And if Kate has biological children, she should understand how fair their treatment of you is. OP, why don't you start by asking if you can have his and Kate's kids over when you have your kids? As their sibling's mother, their kid should be calling you mom too, and therefore he and she should get the same custody split as her siblings. Start demanding, vocally, nothing in writing, that their kids have to give you a Mother's Day card too, and share Mother's Day with you, and you should get alone time with their kids to bond and spend time with your family. Like, go all out ridiculous and call them selfish, and when they push back, you can be like, but how is this different? If Kate wants to be my kid's mommy, then I should get to be her kid's mommy too. Not the idiot. She's just gonna have to suck it up. She's got her own kids. She will live. You can't force your way into being someone's mother. I'm surprised she can't understand how it's coming across. How else are you supposed to see it, except them trying their hardest to push you out and replace you? If she and your ex don't stop trying to shove this weird, I'm your new mommy thing down their throats, they're only going to play themselves and breed resentment with those poor kids. Then they won't have any kind of relationship with them, as soon as the kids have a choice in the matter. My dad used to run his own business when I was growing up. It went bankrupt when I was 17. My dad was a terrible manager who wanted to look richer rather than run a profitable operation. So we had to sell our house. My sister had to switch schools. It was really difficult for a while. I started my own business a few years ago. It has been doing okay. We are profitable, cash flow positive, and have viable avenues to invest our cash flow. I have a few senior management positions to fill. He has been pushing me to hire one of his old friends. The guy looks good on paper, but I talked to a few employees who worked under him. The verdict is that he is brilliant, but he is arrogant, very critical, and some of the women who worked under him said harsher on the women working under him, and they had to work hard to earn his respect. So I didn't want to hire him. I instead went with someone with less experience, but a glowing review from subordinates. My dad found out that I had hired someone else, and he went on a rant. He called me names, told me that I was making a huge mistake, and I needed someone experienced to manage the business. It made me angry, and I reminded him that his business had gone bankrupt, and I really didn't need his advice. My dad is really hurt. His business failure is a very sore spot for him. He feels a lot of guilt about it, and not being able to provide for his family. My mom thinks I'm rude, and I just have let him rant, and I should have just ignored it. I think I should have done that instead of snapping at him and hitting a sore spot. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. The way your dad responded and the person he recommended makes me think I can see part of why his business went under. It would be a stupid move to bring it up apropos of nothing, or in the context of a different disagreement, but he is specifically ranting about your business decision. He shouldn't invite comparison if it makes him look bad. You are the idiot. There was no need to be so nasty to your father. Congratulations on running a business better than he did, but there is no reason to rub his nose in it. The proper response would have been, Dad, he was a great candidate, but the person I hired was an even better candidate and a better fit for the culture at my business. It was a tough decision, but I am positive I made the correct one. As you know, being the boss means you have to make some tough decisions, and this was one of them. Hitting someone in their sore spot will always make you the idiot. I, female 31, have a mentally disabled sister. She has an intellectual disability. She's 27, understands many things, but has mobility issues, but nothing severe. She lives with my parents and needs assistance. A couple of months ago, shortly after my cousin's wedding, Mom told me sister started crying, asking why she couldn't have a wedding and wear a white dress and be a bride. It's devastating and helpless to hear her speak like that, so my aunt came up with an idea. Last week I received an invite via phone. My husband asked and I answered that it was a wedding invitation. He asked where it came from, and I said my parents are having a wedding party for my sister. He looked at me shocked and asked me to explain, and I explained my parents wanted to have a wedding party for my sister where she gets to experience being a bride and wear a white dress like every other bride and enjoy the day. He said, "And the groom?" I said there's no groom, and explained we were just having a small party for my sister to allow her to experience being a bride since she'll never actually be married and have a wedding due to her condition. My aunt came up with the idea, and everyone thought it was a good idea. He was still stunned, trying to process what I said. He then asked, "Are you people normal? Like, are you being serious right now? And your parents are going through with this and funding this stupid idea?" He burst out laughing out of the blue. I was annoyed. I walked away from him, and he still laughed about it later, saying my parents probably have way too much money to waste, apparently, and asked if we're getting this on the local news, since it's a first. He didn't stop joking and making fun of it. The day of the party, he came out of the bathroom and was wearing a suit, said he couldn't believe he was playing along with this, and felt stupid to be wearing a suit for this party. I said he didn't have to because I wouldn't be taking him with me. He stopped talking and didn't think I was serious. He turned and walked out, saying he was getting the car ready, but I told him no, he wasn't coming with me because after what he said, I don't trust him not to hurt my parents or sister with his jokes. And if he tried to go in there, then I would have my parents kick him out. He asked why I was treating him like this. I said because of his attitude. He argued that I should please forgive him for how he reacted and that anyone in his shoes would have reacted the same way. I just grabbed my stuff and walked out. He argued he was trying to show support, but I was harsh. I ended up going alone, and he kept sulking afterward, saying he missed all the fun because of me, and I treated him as if he was a dog rather than my husband. I said he disrespected my sister and my family, but he insisted he loves my family, and I deprived him of sharing the joy on my sister's big day. He even said this sarcastically. Not the idiot. He treated this as a joke when he was invited and sulked when he was uninvited for acting immaturely. It's a wonderful event that was thrown for your sister. Husband can't expect to try to kill OP's joy, mock the event, and call it a waste, and then expect you to trust that he won't intentionally or even accidentally say something that will ruin this for your sister or her family. Not the idiot. I like your boundaries, and kudos for standing up for your sister and family in the face of his scorn. Your husband was a major idiot. Not sure if this is his normal, but I really hope not for you. Anyway, I hope your sister loved your special day. What wonderful memories you all created for her and each other.